Hey everybody, it's your Uncle Bear. Happy Saturday. Happy Flag Day. If it's not raining where you are, go ahead and hang your flag out there. You can hang it out there when it's raining too. I usually don't, just because I don't want it wrinkly next time I hang it out. So anyway, and happy 250th birthday to the United States Army. Us that were in the other branches like to give you a lot of shit, but we have a lot of respect for our brothers and sisters in the Army. So let's talk a little bit about these protests, or as I call them, riots, that are scheduled for today all around the country. And I know some of you are going to go, well, that doesn't have anything to do with trucking again. Well, yeah, it kind of does. And I'll tell you why. Back in 1992, a man by the name of Rodney King, a black man out in LA, was arrested, and he was beaten by police. I don't know how, pretty bad. He was beaten pretty bad. Don't know the circumstances leading up to it, or I don't know the case on that really at all, other than the police were exonerated and there were riots in the street. Stinks to high heaven of George Floyd, doesn't it? Anyway, there was a truck driver out there that was pulled from his truck and beaten within an inch of his life. He was damn near killed. They were hitting him in the head with bricks and everything else, throwing bricks at his head. It was disgusting is what it was. He had nothing to do with whatever they were doing. So anyways, so yeah, that's how this has to do with us in the trucking industry, because they're having these things. And I went to this nokings.org website where they're organizing all of these, and I was looking at where they have a map on there telling where all these protests are. And yeah, I'm going through at least 5 of those cities myself today, so you know, I get to look up at the every overpass to make damn sure nobody's gonna throw a brick through my windshield or some shit like that, because that's what they do, you know. And the hell of it is, I debated on saying something about the Democrat Party being the party that lacks integrity. They didn't used to, though. That's what pisses me off to no end. They did not used to. They used to sit down and compromise with the other party. Both parties, they would sit down. Now, in this day and age, you know, it's a matter of, if I don't agree with you, I'm going to take it all the way to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court. I'm going to file articles of impeachment. It's my way or the highway. There is no compromise. And that goes on both sides of the aisle. It's fucking stupid. But that being said, the Democrats have been the ones to start all these riots. Plain and simple. And this one is no different. It is being funded by the liberal elites, the billionaires. And you know, I had somebody a while back, you know, they asked me, they said, well, what shouldn't the billionaires want the conservatives to win more often, because you know the taxes are lower with conservatives. They are and they aren't. See, the thing about it is, it depends on what club you're in. There are different clubs in the billionaire class. Trump isn't in their club. He's not. Mark Cuban is. Bill Gates is. The Waltons are. And basically, you know, I mean, and this has been forever. There have been certain clubs around the world. The Rothschilds have led some of these clubs. And if you want an interesting story to read, look up the Rothschilds. It's quite not the candy people. These are a different Rothschild family. But they basically control, or they used to anyway. I haven't read up on them in years, but they used to control all the money in the world, all of it. It was all theirs. So, anyways, um, so basically, quick, some of you know this, some of you don't. I'm just going to run it down. Every state is afforded 2 senators, okay? That's the max any state can have. There's 2 senators from each of the 50 states. That makes 100 senators in Washington. And if they vote on something and it's a tie, then the vice president is a tiebreaker. The House of Representatives, Congress, is different than that. It is your state gets a certain number of congressmen based on the head count in your state. Notice I said a head count and not the voter rolls or anything like that, okay? A head count. Okay, so California and some of the other liberal states have been hemorrhaging citizens. In other words, they're fed up with the liberal policies of those states and they're leaving and going to other states for quite a few years. In California, more than most, they actually lost a couple seats. And anyway, so basically, in order to get that head count back up, that's why the border was open last administration. They said, open the borders, let's flood them. And they were flying people to the areas that needed a bigger head count to get those Democratic congressmen in office, right? They were hoping to get it to where they could vote too. They get that head count up, and also they were flying some of these people to areas that were red zones, Republican areas, and they wanted to turn them purple or even blue, and so they could flip those states blue. Now, this is important to the Democrats because now they are trying desperately, they're fighting to keep these people in the country because those numbers are going to go back down if they allow them to be deported. And California, they stand to gain 5 to 7 seats in the House of Representatives, by those vast numbers of people. And so the billionaires that are in the liberal elite clubs, they're coughing up the money to fund these protests. And since we don't really, there was a protest where I lived not long ago, it was on the news, and I just looked at my wife and I said, do they think we give a shit? We don't, because they were just marching around downtown with signs, and I don't care. Nobody would care if I was either, for that matter. But when they're throwing bricks and shooting people and shit like that, then they get attention. It's not going to work. What they want to do is to spark a civil war. They want the conservatives to come out and react. That's what the liberal elites want. But let me tell you, if you're part of this sector that wants to go protest, I gotta be honest with you here. They don't give a shit about you. They really don't. They have no empathy for these illegal immigrants or the children that are being deported or any of that. They don't give 2 shits. It's all political chess for them. That's all it is. They want these people to stay so they have more warm bodies in that district. That's it. That's all they're interested in. They don't give a shit about you people or me or anybody else. It's to line their pockets, okay? Because, somebody asked me a while back, well, why don't they pay taxes? Some of them do. A lot of people do. There's I know a lot of millionaires and billionaires that they pay like half every year. They pay 50% tax. They're in the 50% tax bracket. That's a lot of money, But there's some that pay none, because bottom line, you and I can't afford those expensive tax attorneys and accountants like they can. And like I say, President Trump wasn't in that club.
Say a command.
And they proved it. They've since proven that he pays his taxes. They went through his, when he was on trial for all that bullshit, they went through his taxes and everything was fine. If it hadn't been fine, it would have been all over the liberal media, wouldn't it? So, anyway, how does this affect us? Well, we got to watch every overpass for bricks coming through our windshield, right? And like I say, if you're thinking about protesting, don't bother. Seriously. Do you need $200 a day that bad to go out and risk going to prison? Because that's what it is. Especially if it involves an ICE agent, any federal agent. Law enforcement officers will get you some prison time too, but federal officers, that'll get you federal prison time. That'll possibly even supermax out in Colorado, and you don't want that. That's solitary confinement all the time, and people go crazy in solitary confinement. So, anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. It's surely political, folks, and if you're a conservative and you're thinking about going out and giving them their Civil War, don't. Seriously. Number one, you're risking your own life, and if you're going to die for a cause, you don't want to die for their cause, do you? Let them die for their cause. If they want to die for their cause, let them. Not you. We need you. We need you for the next election. We need you for the next election, the midterms. So, but yeah, don't engage in this civil war. That's exactly what they want, because they want to depopulate. Bill Gates said it himself. We need to decrease the population. So we're not going to give them that satisfaction, folks, and we're not doing a civil war. I don't feel like going out there and shooting motherfuckers all day, every day. Neither do you. Stay at home today. Stay far away from wherever the fuck they are. Do your own thing, Netflix and chill, or however you young people say it. Just do something else besides that. Be safe, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time, all right? Drivers, keep your head on a swivel today. Don't stop. Don't stop. If they're dumb enough to get in front of your truck, flatten them. Plain and simple. Don't be Reginald Denny. They scrambled his brains. They scrambled his brains. That guy did not deserve what they gave him. It wasn't right. So, that's the long and the short of it, kids. We'll talk to you later.